get a run. Full trigger. To fly or not to fly? That is the question. Got the Blackjack on the block. Literally, y'all. It's on the block. Yeah, I love this boat. I love it. It's fast, it's big, it's fun. Amazing job Pro Boat did with this boat. What I'm going to go over today is something that doesn't need to be done to this boat. I think the boat rides just fine the way it is. I want this boat to fly on the water, sitting parallel to the water, okay? I don't want her to fly. It's not lifting up like it was before. Oh yeah! So to fly or not to fly? She was fast when I had it set right here. She was fast, but she would blow over, okay? She would blow over. The farther down I push my strut, the more angle I put on it, the more oscillating, the more bounce this boat had. Okay, the slower it got. So I want to eventually get this boat to where I can ride. I can put my strut basically in line with the ride surface where she won't blow over. My dad, when I was young, he used to race pickle forks. Pickle forks, they're like 10, 12 foot long, not even. Him and my granddaddy used to sit out there and blueprint the hull for days on end. They'd race it, they'd take it home and flip it over and blueprint the hull. No porpoising. Woo, that was a pretty run. Blueprinting your boat in general isn't just like filling a few holes, making sure it's flat, slapping some paint on there, boom, you're done. It's a little more involved than that. Blueprinting a boat doesn't just involve the hull, your sponson, straightening out the strakes, any kind of weaves or dips in the hull, and it's not just limited to the hull. I blueprinted this strut basically. I knocked off the blunt edge here and basically shaped it like a torpedo, a bullet. More hydrodynamic, less drag. Blueprinting the rudder here, knocking off all the edges, gain acceleration, gain top speed, more efficient, more out of every rev of your propeller basically when you blueprint the hull of a boat, blueprint the hardware, the running gear of a boat. It's involved. It's a lot to it. If you guys decide to do this, do some research, look it up, find out what you got to do, what you don't need to do. I mean, if you're just doing it because you got a little bit of bounce in your boat, I wouldn't just strip the paint off and start blueprinting it. I would check your weight distribution. I would make sure you don't have any blunt edges in the water. Less drag equals more efficiency basically. Move something around, find a better center of gravity. Maybe you can get the porpoising to stop without blueprinting the hull. Now this is a big job and you guys should be kind of intimidated. I've done this kind of stuff my whole life on one-to-one boats. So this right here, it doesn't intimidate me. I'll if it don't work, I'll sand it off and start over again. That's my mentality. That's the way I do things. Do it because you want the most performance out of your boat. You want the most performance for every turn of that propeller. Efficient. You want an efficient boat. Efficient boats are fast boats. Light boats are fast boats. This isn't the only boat this should be done on. You could do it on V-holes, straighten the strakes out on a V-hole, loop-de-doopties out of it. Just make sure you kind of keeping everything straight. Keep your straight edge nearby. This boat is not done. I just wanted to kind of show you guys this before we get started on the whole process. You want to make sure it's level this way. You want to make sure it's level this way. Depending on the type of boat you have, you might have longer pads with more surface, more ride area. This boat here has a small ride area. It's like your ride area is from here to here, and it steps up to your step. Different boats are made different. You know, all these little lines right here, they all have a key role in the way a boat performs. So, you know, do some research. Learn about how your boat is supposed to run in the water, and then you'll be able to do something like this. Don't just jump right into it not knowing what you're doing, because you could really make things worse. That being said, let's get started. I've already done it. This sponson right here was, let's see, flip it up. This one was high, so basically the board teeter-totted on this sponson. All right, this one was low, this one was low. So I've got this one sanded down and this one sanded down until they were flat. Okay, now you'll see where the flat spot is supposed to start, about right here. On this one, it's about right here. You see it? I even think that this one actually is supposed to be a little bit smaller of a flat spot ride pad right here. You can see it a little bit better on this one. It looks like it's supposed to be about right there. You want a perfect ride surface, and what I'm going to use to do it is mill putty. It's basically an epoxy putty. You see, it's for boat repairs, and it's waterproof. I tested it on a Blackjack a couple days in a row, no problem so far. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get the mill putty. It's 2-part putty, mix it up, use a putty knife to fill it. This mill putty strong. I'll show you. Dries. You hear that? And it's tough. Let's see if we can break it. I just hit it really hard, cracked it. So it's tough. It's tough. To fly or not to fly? That's the question. You probably won't even need 2 boxes. I like to make things for my crawler. Like I use this mill putty to make like accessories for my crawler. 1-to-1. Mix up your mill putty 1-to-1. It ain't gonna take much. Those aren't big dips. This is what you do. You tune your boat. The low spot here, I've already hit it, but I want to do it again. That way our putty sticks to it with me. But a slick bottom on a boat, I think, personally, my opinion, I think a slick bottom will be slower than a slightly roughed up bottom. And basically, this is my ride pad right here. Same thing with this one, about right here on all 4 of my back ones. I guess I'm just going to put some on here like that, kind of get it to lay down. Probably going to make it a little bit high so I can sand off the access once it's dry. I have to sand it regardless. So basically, that's the area I'm going to do. On the outsides that don't really need it. Got it a little bit higher than what I needed. It's kind of it's real thick putty, so you can't really pull it like you would like a drywall or anything like that, drywall putty. So you basically need a real sharp one so you can kind of cut the high spots off. But it sands excellent, so we'll finish it up once we sand it. What did I do to my boat? Oh boy, oh boy. It's been curing for about 2 hours, and I just kind of want to get some of this excess off before it completely dries. completely dries hard. This is going to save us some time in the long run. Really, you don't want it thick right here, for sure, or you'll be sanding and sanding, and you'll actually sand into this flat spot into the hull, and you don't want to sand into the hull. So make sure this is tapered off to nothing while it's still workable, and this is actually working the best. Take it off to nothing, feather it out. So I could put it on both sponsons, all three sponsons, and only sand the middle one. And then this one, I used this one for the back one, so I didn't sand the other two sponsons. You see that? So I'm just sanding this one with this piece of sander. Same thing with the front one. No sanding in the back, just sanding in the front. And like I said, this one sands in the middle without sanding in the front too. So if you decide to do this, take your time. Don't sand your boat too much. You'll weaken it up. I took my time. I didn't sand it any more than I had to, and I don't have any bad spots, any weak spots at all, any of them. I didn't want to add any more mill put to my, like right here was a low spot, and it wasn't thick enough to put more mill putty, so I just used a sealer, which is a primer, and I use it as like a sanding primer to fill in my low spots. So I've used this sealer by itself on boats in the past, and it sticks to plastic pretty good the way it is, just like it is, just like by itself. So I've actually used the Balancing Clear, which is a water-based urethane. Add it to your airbrush paints, your water-based airbrush paints, and it makes it kind of impermeable to the water. All I'm doing, not even taping it off, just this front part to keep it sharp. I'm just using a foam brush with my airbrush sealer. The foam brush, I really don't have to worry about it like going off the sides here. I just kind of painting it, really, just keep going over it, and the spots I know that they're low, like low, I'm just kind of not really even globbing it on, because I don't want to put too much paint on at one time. If you put too much on at one time, it's going to end up chipping off on you. So I'm just kind of going thin layers, and this is probably like my 10th coat of this stuff. But I sand it off. I'll sand it off, and then I'll paint it again, wipe it down, paint it again, and I'm getting there. It's getting there. It's a long process. Where it steps up, got to get a sharp edge on this, like a 90-degree sharp edge, so it's not rounded. Might be one of the most important parts of this project. So you want to build up paint on the back of your step, basically so you can sand it off and sharpen it up and get a nice sharp edge, so it helps the boat suck down to the water. back parts, you don't want to free sand it. And what I mean by free sanding it is just taking a piece of sandpaper and going crazy on it. You want to use your straight board, your sanding board, for these back pads. For the curve, I use like a flat board with a piece of sandpaper on it, and I try to go from side to side as much as I can, but I also will free sand it with this flat board, trying to flatten it out, because this isn't as critical with the dips and stuff as the back pads. You don't want no dips back here. Little dip right there. Still gotta get that dip out. Gotta fill these dips with mill put. I've been trying to fill this dip 20 coats now. I didn't put no mill put on these front ones. I wish I would have filled that little dip right there. But what I'm doing, if I got a little dip like that, I'll just put some paint on it and just try to hit that little dip with some paint. Not real thick, because it don't really lay down thick. You just have to keep going over it, working out these dips. I've used just the Autoborn sealer on my Blackjack 24, okay, because I think it is actually gonna work by itself. On the 42, I used the balancing clear, and you can still sand it with this. For your first application, they say, you know, to put the balancing clear, and it helps the paint stick to the plastic a little bit better. But it doesn't say to use it with a sealer. So I was kind of like up in the air with using this, because this is water based by itself, no urethane. This is a urethane water base. Both boats so far, and this has been about a week after I've finished this project, both boats so far have no chipping, no cracking, no peeling, no defects in the finish so far. So I'm thinking you could go either way with this. Either way. I've actually used, this is my third bottle on both boats. So if you're going to do it, you're going to do it right. You're going to get all the brush marks, everything smooth as a baby's butt. You're going to need about 3 or 4 bottles for the 42. All right, because it lays down thin. You got to paint it on, sand it, paint it, sand it, paint it, and then sand it. You know, to get it all perfect. So it sands really good, really good. Both the mill putty and these two different water-based airbrush paints, I think I kind of hit the nail on the head, for real, y'all. But I think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna last. And trying to improve a boat, it don't scare me. If it don't work, I'll sand it shit off and let her bounce. All right, I got it flat, y'all. I got it flat. But you can see the flat spot from here to here. Flat spot from here to here. Flat spot from like here to here. Get a different angle. See the flat spot here? Here? See that? So I got it pretty flat. This way as well, to make sure they're level both directions. So I'm going this way and this way. Keep you know, add a couple coats, and then I'll sand it. And I'll do a couple more coats in the low spots. So next time we take it out, I think she's gonna fly. No porpoising. Woo, that was a pretty run. I actually just take this boat back up. I just got back from the Proppin' Willies video with the drag prop on there, the big drag prop, and I had one little chip, and I think it's because I didn't sand that little corner right there. I didn't like get the sandpaper in there good and scuff it up because it's shiny looking. I had one chip, actually 2. I guess, is that a chip? Two 2 chips on this one. I guess I just kind of real fast and I didn't hit it all the way. So my tip to you guys, fare it down, and before you put this stuff on there, wipe it down with alcohol and fresh 180 then alcohol. Make sure it's clean of debris, dust, oils, everything like that. Make sure you get every little square inch of this boat that you're going to paint. Prep it, prep it, prep it, prep it is 99% of this job. Prep it right and it will stick. I'm still in the testing phases for this. I've only had it on my boat, run it about 6 times, okay? I'm in the testing phases. If you guys do this, like shortly after I release this video, if you do this, just know you're doing it in the testing phases. I have not completely found out the durability, found out the stress and the maximum extremes this blueprint job will take. So know that I am still testing, and I will keep you guys updated. Took this boat out. I got 67 miles an hour with it yesterday, my highest speed yet, and it performed phenomenal. So I brought it home and just kind of sanded down some of my high spots. My last sanding on this boat. I've still got a little dip right here, still got a little dip right here on my front pad, but the back of my pad in the front is flat, flat, flat. I didn't mill putty my front pads. I figured that the sealer would be good enough to fill it in, and it has been. It's just taken, not even like exaggerating, probably 20 thin coats, and it goes on thin. No matter how thick you put it on there, it goes on thin. I wasn't planning on doing my front pads when I started this project. I was just going to do the back 4. So last minute I decided to go ahead and prime it. I figured I could fill it in. Just letting you guys know, if you have any big dips, like considerably big dips on the plastic hull of boat, I would mill putty them. Don't rely on the sealer to fill in any big spots because it's very time consuming. I wanted to throw that out there. Even the back one, I taped it up low in the back, and I actually taped it all up low so that I can actually sand these edges, make it a sharp edge instead of rounded. Even the back, I could sand it like this without touching the plastic so I don't mess up my boat. But you want to make sure you get them sharp. Get you a piece of light sandpaper and just sand the back of your sponsons to a sharp edge. You're going to get the best performance. It helps the boat suck down to the water when you have a nice sharp edge on these sponsons right here. Imperfections like this will actually help break the surface tension of the water a little bit quicker. This process is only used for plastic or polycarbonate hulls, okay? You can only do this on a plastic or polycarbonate hull, this method. If you have a fiberglass boat or carbon fiber boat, you have to use a different method. Fiberglass and fairing compounds specific to fiberglass and carbon fiber boats. This is only for a plastic or polycarbonate hull, okay? It kind of flexes, and I'm not even sure how long it's going to last because I'm still in the testing phases. But so far so good on the Blackjack 42 and the Blackjack 24. So far so good. So good luck if you guys decide to do it. Good luck. Take your time. Keep a straight edge handy. Make sure everything's level. Flip your boat over. Put it on the flat surface, the flattest surface you got, and just take your time with it. Do your research, and good luck. Big B here with IRONCLAD RC, a channel where we tinker, test, and tune everything RC. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell to get notified for future builds, future projects. As always, thank you guys for watching.